I hope you all are doing well, children. Okay, so once again, welcome back to our third day of revision lecture. That is Maths 2, that is Chapter 5, Quadrilateral. Okay, so already we have started the chapter. It is the third day of our revision lecture. So, children, before starting the actual topic, so let us recall or revise what we have done in our previous lecture. Okay, and so the students who have missed their class, those who have missed their class, they can also revise and understand what we have learned in our previous lecture. Okay, so before that, please keep ready your textbook and notebook in front of you so that you can note down the important points what you have missed in the previous lecture, isn't it? Okay, children, so why we are revising again and again the same topic? Because you know that in maths, each and every topic each and every topic is interrelated, or we can say they are connected to each other. So because whatever the topic we have studied and the subtopics we have studied, they are interrelated. So we have to start from the first so that there should not miss any connection between the any topic. Okay, so in the first 2 day lectures of our revision, what we have discussed, children, we have discussed chapter 5, that is quadrilateral. Okay, also we have discussed the basic definition of quadrilateral. Also we have discussed what are the different types of quadrilateral. Okay, so we have discussed what is the basic definition of quadrilateral. It is very simple, children. Okay, we have discussed from the word itself, quadrilateral. Quad means what, children? Four, and lateral means sides. So the definition of quadrilateral is it is a closed figure made up of four sides. Okay, so simple definition of quadrilateral is it is a closed figure made up of four sides. Okay, and also, so once again, recap or recapitulate what we have learned in our first 2 day lectures. Okay, previous lectures. Okay, so in that quadrilateral, we have studied types of quadrilateral. Okay, we have discussed various types of quadrilateral. Yes, in that we have studied five types of quadrilateral. That is, first one is parallelogram. Okay, this parallelogram is the very important in this chapter. Parallelogram, this type of is a quadrilateral which is very much important in this chapter. And also we have studied definition of parallelogram, also its various properties. Okay, so today also once again recall types of quadrilateral. So first one is the parallelogram. So from the word itself, parallelogram, it shows the word parallel. So what is the definition of parallelogram, children? What is the definition? So parallelogram is a quadrilateral. It is a four-sided geometrical figure. Okay, it is a four-sided geometrical figure in which pair of opposite sides are parallel. So if any geometrical figure is whose opposite sides are parallel, so we can say that such type of quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, and also we have studied various properties of parallelogram. Okay, and after that we have studied square. Square, you are familiar, rectangle, rhombus, and trapezium. So all these are different types of quadrilateral. And also we can see that this rectangle, square, and rhombus, they are the form of parallelogram. They are the form of parallelogram what we have discussed in our previous lecture. And other type, that is trapezium, which we are going to discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so we have studied some properties of parallelogram. Okay, so we know that parallelogram, it is a quadrilateral in which opposite sides are parallel. Okay, opposite sides are parallel in parallelogram. In that, first property we have studied is that first property is that the adjacent angles of a parallelogram are supplementary. So in a parallelogram, the adjacent angle adjacent angles in a parallelogram are supplementary. So, children, in parallelogram, we have studied various concepts and terms related to it. So, which are the terms we have studied? We have studied adjacent angle. Also, we have studied opposite angles. Okay. Again, what adjacent sides we have studied. So here, adjacent angles means what, children? The angle beside each other. Okay. And if these adjacent angles are supplementary, then we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay. So what does the word supplementary mean, children? The word supplementary means their sum should be 180 degree. 180 degree. Okay. Adjacent angles. So suppose quadrilateral ABCD is a parallelogram. Okay. In that, we can say that angle A and angle B, they are adjacent angles. Okay. And their sum should be 180 degree. In the similar way, angle B and angle C are adjacent angles. So their sum should be 180 degree. Similarly, we can say angle C, angle D, their sum should be 180 degree. Okay. So second property is opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So children, in a parallelogram, if the opposite sides are congruent means what, children? Same in length. Okay. So if the opposite sides are congruent, then we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay. So this, that was the second property which we have discussed. Okay. And the third property is that opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So we have studied that in parallelogram, if the opposite angles are congruent, then the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So in, we have studied also in this square and rectangles also, opposite angles are congruent. Okay. Means it means what, they are also a type of parallelogram. They are also a form of parallelogram. Okay. So if the opposite angles are congruent in a quadrilateral, then we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay. For example, if a quadrilateral ABCD is given, so um, angle A and angle C, opposite to angle A will be angle C. Okay. In the similar way, opposite to angle B is angle D. So angle A and angle C are a pair of opposite angles and they are congruent in a parallelogram. Similarly, angle C and angle D, they are opposite angles and they are congruent in a parallelogram. Okay. So these are the three properties, and the fourth property is diagonals of a parallelogram, they bisect each other. So what is diagonal, children? When you join any two opposite vertices, if a line segment joins any two opposite vertices, then that is called a diagonal. Okay. Joining opposite vertices, line segment joining opposite vertices, that is called diagonal. Okay. So in uh, quadrilateral, there are two diagonals. Okay. For example, see, suppose ABCD is a quadrilateral. In that, if we join their opposite vertices A and C and B and D, we get a diagonals. And these diagonals in a parallelogram, in a quadrilateral, if they bisect each other, if they bisect each other, okay, if they bisect each other, then we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Is it clear, children? Means what? Bisect means what? Suppose this both the quadrilaterals, they are bisecting by intersecting at point. Suppose we say O. Okay. This AC and diagonal BD, they are intersecting at point O. Intersecting at point, it means what? Segment AO will be congruent to segment BO. Sorry, CO. Okay. AO will be congruent to segment CO. Similarly, segment BO will be congruent to segment DO. Okay. So these were the four most important properties of a parallelogram, which we are going to apply in this chapter to solve the problems. Okay. And what, and the main objective of this studying all these properties and studying geometry is that, children, we, it is geometry, it maths, it help us to inculcate visualization skills, children. It help us to inculcate visualization skills, and also we think help us to think with the spatial reasoning, and whatever reasoning, whatever the knowledge we have got, we apply this geometrical modeling to solve such type of questions. Okay, so uh, these are the things we have learned in this chapter. Okay, the main objective is to whatever the things we inculcate, we have to think, and we have to apply to solve the problems. So these were the different types of four types of different properties we have learned of parallelogram. Okay, so apart from this property, children, we have studied test for parallel lines. Okay, so already we have discussed in this previous lecture, and already you have studied in the second chapter, that is parallel lines, test for parallel lines. Okay, so, and what is the application of this test? Why should we study this test? So this test help us to find or apply this test to whether the two lines are parallel or not, whether the two given lines are parallel or not. Okay, so this test helps us to find whether the two given lines are parallel or not. Okay, so in that, first we have studied corresponding angle test. Okay, children, so in that we have studied first corresponding angle test. So in this corresponding angle test, if two lines are intersected by a transversal, so two lines are intersected by a transversal, and a pair of corresponding angles are congruent, then these two lines are parallel to each other. Okay, children. So what is given here? Two lines are given and a transversal intersect those lines, and if the corresponding angles are formed, then those corresponding angles should be congruent. Then only we can say that the given lines are parallel to each other. So here you can see here two lines are given, line L and line M. Okay, and one transversal is passing through it, line which intersect the given lines, that is called the transversal. So here corresponding angle is formed, children, and if the corresponding angle is congruent, here A and B, sorry, angle D, they are corresponding angles, and if these corresponding angles are congruent, then we can say that line L is parallel to line M. Is it clear? In the similar way, here also they are corresponding angles. Okay, so if they are formed, corresponding angles are formed, and if they are congruent, then we can say that the given lines are parallel to each other. Okay, so this test help us to find. So this test is called corresponding test for parallel lines, corresponding angle test for parallel lines. So next test we have discussed, that is adjacent angle test. Okay, adjacent angle test. So in this test, if two lines are intersected, by a transversal and a pair of alternate angles are congruent, if the two lines are intersected by transversal and a pair of alternate angles are congruent, then these two lines are parallel to each other. Okay, here also, if the alternate angles are congruent, then the given lines, two lines, are parallel to each other. Okay, so here line L and line M, we have to find whether these lines are parallel or not. Okay, and a transversal passes through it. So if these alternate angles are congruent, here angle C and angle B, they are alternate angles. Also we can remember this by Z test. Here forming Z. Okay, you can remember Z. Whenever Z is there, you have to apply, we have to say that it is a alternate angle test. You can see here two angles are formed. You can say also it has Z test. Okay, so here angle C and angle B, sorry, angle C and angle B, they are alternate angles, And if these alternate angles are congruent, then we can say that the given two lines are parallel. Okay, is it clear? Similarly, here also you can see this is, they are alternate angles. Okay, they are alternate. Here also z is formed like this, they are alternate angles. So also you can remember this test by z test, z test. Okay, so these alternate angles as well as corresponding angles, these are the, they are angles, if they are congruent, then only we can say that the given two lines are parallel. Okay, next, third type of test, third test is interior angle test. So this interior angle test for parallel lines. Okay, so in this, if two lines are intersected by transversal, if two lines are intersected by transversal and a pair of interior angles are supplementary, then these two lines are parallel to each other. Okay, okay children, if two lines are intersected by transversal, then a pair of interior angles are formed, and if these interior angles are formed, if they are supplementary, then only we can say that these two lines are parallel to each other. Okay, so here you can see line L is parallel, is given, line L is given and line M is given. Okay, and this transversal, it is intersecting and forming angles. Okay, between the two parallel lines, this transversal is intersecting the two lines and forming angles between the two parallel lines. Okay, and these angles formed, they are interior angles, and if these angles are supplementary, then only we can say that the given line L is parallel to line M. Is it clear? Okay, and this interior angle formed, they are on the same side of the transversal. Whenever the interior angles formed, they will be on the same side of the transversal. That's why they are supplementary. If they are supplementary, then only we can say that the given two lines are parallel. If they are not supplementary, if their sum is not supplementary or 180-degree, then those lines are not parallel. Okay, suppose angle A is given, suppose angle A is given 120-degree. Okay, and angle B is given how much, 60-degree. So their sum is how much, the sum is 180-degree. Okay, 180-degree, it means what, they are supplementary. So we can say that the interior angles formed are supplementary, then line L is parallel to line M. Suppose if their measure is not supplementary, if angle A is given 110, okay, and angle B is given how much, 60-degree. So their sum is how much, 170-degree, 170-degree. It means what, line L is, they are, it is not supplementary, means line L is not parallel to line M. Is it clear? So line L is not parallel to line M when their sum is not supplementary. So only we can say that they are parallel if they are supplementary. Okay, so these were the three tests for testing whether the given line are parallel or not. Okay, so children, so in the in corresponding angles and this alternate angle test, their angles formed are, they are congruent. Okay, and in interior angle test, the interior angle should be supplementary, then only we can say that these two lines are given lines are parallel or not. Okay, so whenever the question comes whether the given lines are parallel or not, you can apply this test, three tests among, you can apply this test and find out whether the given line is parallel or not. Okay, so this test cannot be parallel, these lines cannot be parallel unless and until the tests are satisfied or fulfilled, children. Unless these tests are satisfied or fully fulfilled, you cannot say that the given lines are parallel. Okay, for in order to prove, in order to show that two lines are parallel, this test should satisfy or fulfill the given test. Okay, that is corresponding angle test, the second is alternate angle test, and third is the interior angle test. In alternate and corresponding angles, the angle should be congruent. Okay, and in interior angle test, the angle should be supplementary. Got the difference? Okay, I hope it is well clear, understood by you. Okay, so next children, next we have already discussed test for parallelograms. Okay, test for parallelograms. So we know that parallelogram is a type of quadrilateral in which opposite pair of sides are parallel. Okay, so these are the four very important properties in this chapter. On the basis of that, we are going to apply our knowledge, and we have to solve the questions. Okay, so here there are four properties. The first property is that if the opposite angles of a quadrilateral are congruent. Okay, if the opposite angles of a quadrilateral are congruent, then that quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, if the opposite angles of a quadrilateral are congruent. So you can look at the figure here. PQRS is a quadrilateral. In that you can see that opposite angles are congruent. Here opposite angles, angle P and angle R, they are opposite angles. Similarly, angle S and angle Q, they are opposite angles. If the opposite angles are congruent, we can say that the um, given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, so we know that this parallelogram whose parallelogram is a quadrilateral when opposite angles are congruent. If they are congruent, then only we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, and this test help us to find whether the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram or not. Second property is that if the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, if the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, if the opposite sides of a, if any quadrilateral is given and if their opposite sides are congruent, okay, then we can say that that a given quadrilateral is a parallelogram, and this property hold uh, good in rectangle children. Okay, in rectangle it is also a type of quadrilateral in which opposite sides are congruent, opposite sides are parallel. Okay, we can say opposite sides are congruent or parallel. Also it can hold in good in square, also square rectangle. Okay, so if the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, so we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So here in this figure, in the given quadrilateral ABCD can be said to be parallelogram only if opposite sides are congruent. So here AB is congruent to DC. Okay, similarly AD is congruent to BC. If the opposite sides are congruent, then those those quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, is it clear? Next, third property is if the diagonals of a quadrilateral bisect each other, if the diagonals of the quadrilateral bisect each other, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, if the diagonal of a quadrilateral bisect each other, so here in this figure quadrilateral PQRS diagonal, here PR is a diagonal and QS is a diagonal. Okay, so if they bisect each other, if they bisect each other and they are intersecting at point M, this is diagonal PR and SQ, they are bisecting, intersecting at point M. It means what? Segment SM is congruent to, bisect means what? Segment SM is congruent to QM, and also segment PM is congruent to RM. Okay, bisect means for children divides equally. So if the diagonal bisect, then only we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, so here this property holds good under rectangle as well as square. Okay, next fourth property is if the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are parallel, if the opposite sides of the quadrilateral are parallel and congruent. if the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are parallel and congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, so here in quadrilateral, KLMN, KLMN. Okay, you can read this quadrilateral as in clockwise as well as anti-clockwise, children. Okay, so in quadrilateral LM, KLMN, opposite sides of the quadrilateral are parallel. Opposite sides here, KL and MN. Okay, if they are parallel as well as congruent. Okay, if they are parallel as well as congruent, then the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Is it clear? So these are the four more important properties we have discussed, and once again we have revised so that you can remember for, for a long time. Okay, so we have discussed four properties, and these properties they are called test for parallelograms, and this test for parallelogram help us to find whether the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram or not. So children, uh, up to up to here we have discussed in the last two classes, children, test for parallelogram. Up to here we have discussed in the last two uh, classes. Okay, and on the basis of that, whatever the knowledge we have gained, we have to apply to solve the questions. Okay, so next we are going to study properties of rectangle, rhombus and square. Okay, properties of rectangle, rhombus and square. So all this type of quadrilaterals we have discussed. Okay, so uh, earlier I have told you that, children, this there are two major forms of quadrilateral. First is the parallelogram and second one is the trapezium. Okay, so this rectangle, rhombus and square, they are the forms of parallelogram. They are the forms of parallelogram. Why they are parallelogram? Because their sides are congruent, their sides are congruent, their sides are parallel. Okay, also diagonal, bisects, all these things comes under the parallelogram. That's why we can say that this rectangle, rhombus and square, they are the forms of parallelogram. And the next form is the trapezium, next type of quadrilateral, trapezium, that way we are going to discuss later. Okay, so first we are going to discuss these three, that is rectangle, rhombus and square. So let us see one by one. So here, children, rectangle, rhombus and square, they are form of parallelogram. So you can see that. Okay, so you have already know that rectangle, rhombus and square are different forms of parallelogram. Okay, why they are parallelogram? Because you can see, look at the figure, you can see that their opposite sides are congruent in all the three quadrilateral. If you observe, you can see that their opposite sides are congruent. Okay, you can see opposite sides are congruent. Here also you can see, here also you can see opposite sides are congruent. Okay, here also in rhombus also opposite sides are congruent. In rhombus all sides are in equal. Okay, all sides are of equal length, all sides are equal. In square also all sides are equal, so opposite sides are congruent. Okay, that's why they are form of parallelogram. Also their opposite angles, you can see in rectangle opposite angles are congruent. Okay, opposite angles are congruent. In rhombus also opposite angles are congruent. In square also we can say that opposite angles are congruent. In rectangle all the angles are right angles. Okay, if all the angles are right angle, means opposite angles are also congruent. Okay, similarly in rhombus also opposite angles are congruent. It is not necessary that all the angles should be right angle in the rhombus, so opposite angles will be congruent in rhombus. Similarly in square also all four angles are right angles, and If they are right angle means what? All angles are right angle means their opposite angles are also congruent. So this property uh, falls under the parallelogram, that opposite angles are congruent. Similarly, in these three types of quadrilateral, opposite angles are congruent. Okay. Then the diagonal bisect each other. So if you look here, if you observe this quadrilateral, you can see that in rectangle also diagonal bisect each other. Okay. Similarly, rhombus also you can see diagonal bisect each other, and in square diagonal bisect each other. So all these three properties, what is it? Opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, and also opposite diagonal bisect each other, fall under this. Okay, fall under the parallelogram. That's why they are the forms of parallelogram. Is it clear? Okay, so let us study definition and properties of each quadrilateral. Okay, first we are going to study, already we have discussed and already you are familiar with this geometrical figure, that is rectangle, children. And we know that it is a type of quadrilateral in which all of its angles are right angle. Okay, it is a type of quadrilateral in which all angles are right angles. Okay, that is the basic definition of rectangle. So um, what are the properties? Let us discuss. So here opposite sides of the rectangle are congruent. Opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent. Also, all angles of a rectangle are congruent. All angles are congruent. Also, we can say that diagonals of a rectangle are congruent and they bisect each other. Okay. So here every angle is right angle. Opposite sides are congruent. Opposite sides are parallel. Diagonals are congruent and diagonal bisect each other. Okay. So we can say that it is a type of parallelogram also, because all the whatever the properties of parallelogram are similar, are properties of rectangle are similar to those of the parallelogram. Okay. Next we have already discussed, and it is familiar to all, and you have studied from the previous lower classes. You have learned this, you are studying this geometrical figure, that is square. Okay, so what is the definition of square? Is a quadrilateral is a square if all of its sides are equal and all of its angles are right angles. Okay, so a square is a quadrilateral in which all of its sides are equal and all of its angles are right angles. Okay, so let us see the properties. So all sides of a square are congruent. In square, all sides are congruent. All angles of a square are also congruent. Okay, and also diagonal of the square are congruent and they are perpendicular bisector of each other. Okay, so perpendicular bisector means what, children? Whenever the diagonal bisect each other or intersect at the point, so they are the angle so formed at the center, that is the perpendicular right angle. It is a right angle, that's why they are perpendicular bisector. Okay, next we have discussed rhombus. Okay, what is rhombus? So rhombus, it is a type of quadrilateral in which all sides are congruent. Okay, all of its sides are congruent. So let us see the properties, or let us revise the properties once again. So all sides of rhombus are congruent. Also opposite angles of a rhombus are congruent. Also the diagonals of the rhombus are perpendicular bisector of each other. Okay, diagonal bisect each other at right angles. Diagonal bisect angles, and all angles are not right angles. So here rhombus is, here opposite angles are congruent. So here not necessary that all the angles should be right angles. So these are the um, three types of quadrilateral which falls under the parallelogram, or which we can say that they are the form of parallelogram. Okay, I hope it is clear to all. So children, next we are going to see all this property, how they are proved theoretically. Okay, so we are going to discuss how these properties, how these properties they are proved theoretically. Okay, so here first one we are going to see theorem 1, that is diagonal of a square are congruent. So this is the very specific property of a square. Okay, this is the very specific property of a square, that is diagonal of a square are congruent. Okay, so here what is given? Diagonal of a square are congruent. So what is given here? Given it is a quadrilateral abcd is a square. Okay, quadrilateral abcd is a square, and what you have to prove is diagonal ac is congruent to bd. Okay, we have to prove that diagonal this ac, it is congruent to bd, that we have to prove. Okay, so in order to prove that, we will consider here two triangles. Okay, triangle abc, this triangle abc, and triangle dcb, this one dcb, angle abc, triangle abc, this one, this triangle, and triangle dcb, this triangle. Okay, this triangle. So here you can see that here AB is congruent to segment DC. Why they are congruent? Because it is given that quadrilateral ABCD is a square, and in square all the sides are congruent. Okay, all the sides are congruent, therefore this AB is congruent to segment DC. Okay, because they are the sides of a square. Similarly, angle ABC, this angle ABC is congruent to angle DCB. Why they are congruent, children? Because each angle measure 90 degree in a square. Each angle formed is right angle. That's why angle ABC is congruent to angle DCB. Second condition. And third is, if you observe both the triangles, you can see BC is the common side to both the triangles. BC is the common side to both the triangles. So um, in order to any two triangles to be congruent, they have fulfilled three conditions. Okay, so here triangle ABC congruent to triangle DCB. Okay, DCB, by which test, children? Yes, side test. By side angle side test, these two triangles are congruent. Okay, what we have to prove? We have to prove that diagonal AC is congruent to diagonal BD, that we have to prove. Okay, now here if these two triangles are congruent, then AC is congruent to BD. AC is congruent to BD. What is the reason? They are the corresponding side of the congruent triangle. They are the corresponding side of the congruent triangle. Therefore, the sides are congruent to each other. Okay, so therefore segment AC is congruent to segment BD. Therefore, diagonal AC is congruent to diagonal DB. Okay, so in this way we have proved theoretically the property, that specific property of a square, that is diagonal of a square are congruent. Okay, similarly we can prove, children, diagonals of a rectangle. Similarly we can prove diagonals of a rectangle are congruent, because in rectangle also uh, diagonals are congruent. Okay, the same proof we can prove, we can show to prove the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. Huh. Next property we are going to see, diagonals of a square are perpendicular bisector of each other. Diagonals of a square are perpendicular bisector of each other. Okay, now see, children, what is given? Quadrilateral EFGH, it is a square. Quadrilateral EFGH is a square. Okay, what you have to prove? You have to prove that EG here we have to prove that diagonal EG is the perpendicular bisector of diagonal HF. Means we have to prove that it is a perpendicular bisector. Okay, in the similarly we have to prove that diagonal HF is the perpendicular bisector of EG. This okay. So let us see the proof, children. So we know that it is a square. In square, all the sides are congruent. Okay, so we can write it as EF congruent to EH. Okay, similarly we can write GF congruent to GH. The reason is sides of a square are equal. Okay. So sides of a square are equal. Now see here, points E and G here, points E and point G. Okay, they are the points equidistant from the end points of F and H. Equidistance, you can see here from F and H, you can see these are equidistance. Okay, these are equidistance. We have studied one property, children, perpendicular bisector. Okay, perpendicular bisector property we have studied. Okay, so this point E and G, they are equidistant from the endpoints F and H of segment FH. Okay, similarly this point E and G, point E and G, they lie on the perpendicular bisector of segment FH. So this point E and G, they are lying on the perpendicular bisector of segment FH. So this one. Okay, so according to the perpendicular bisector theorem, we have discussed or we have learned earlier. Okay, what is that property, children? Perpendicular bisector theorem, or theorem or property, we can say. What is that? Only one line passes through the two distinct points. Okay, so here suppose these are the points E and G. So only one line passes through two distinct points. If we join these points, so we'll get only one line, and every segment has only one perpendicular bisector. Every segment. Okay, suppose these are the points, and if we join those points, we get a straight line, and only one straight line, and every segment has only one perpendicular bisector. So when you, whatever the point you take, suppose if we take here DE, okay, so every point will be equidistant from the endpoints of segment FH. Okay, and every segment has only one perpendicular bisectors. That is the perpendicular bisector theorem. So diagonal EG is the perpendicular bisector of diagonal HF. Okay, so EG is the perpendicular bisector of diagonal HF. Similarly, we can prove diagonal HF. So similarly, we can prove diagonal HF. Okay. Similarly, how we have proved this earlier, the diagonal EG is the perpendicular bisector of HF. Similarly, we can prove HF is the perpendicular bisector of diagonal EG. Okay. I hope it is clear to all. Next, and similarly we can prove that diagonals of a rhombus. Similarly, we can prove diagonals of the rhombus are perpendicular bisector of each other. The same proof we can give to find out whether diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Okay. Next theorem, that is diagonals of square bisect its opposite angles. So diagonals of a square bisects its opposite angle. Now see here in the in the figure, quadrilateral ABCD given. What is given? It is a square. Okay, quadrilateral ABCD is a square given, and diagonal AC, diagonal AC and diagonal PD, they bisect its opposite angle. So here angle A and angle C, they are the opposite angles. Angle B and angle D are the opposite angles. Okay, bisect is opposite angle. Suppose angle A is 40 degree. Okay, suppose angle A is 40 degree. Bisect means what? Each angle measure will be 20 degree. Each angle measure will be 20 degree. Okay, so we have to prove it theoretically. Okay, so what is given? Quadrilateral ABCD is a square given. Okay, what we have to prove? We have to prove that diagonal AC and diagonal AC, this AC bisects angle BAD, this angle. Okay, similarly diagonal bisect angle BAD and diagonal angle BCD. Okay, this diagonal AC. Similarly, diagonal BD bisect angle ABC. This one, this angle and this angle. Okay, this diagonal BC bisect angle. So let us see the proof. So you have to if you consider angle ABC, triangle ABC. So this triangle and triangle ADC, this triangle. Okay. So in that you can see that AB is to congruent to AD here. This one, side segment AB is congruent to side AD. Similarly, BC is congruent to DC. What is the reason? They are the sides of the square, and sides of the square are equal. Okay. And third one is the AC. AC is the common side to both the triangles. So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ADC. What is the reason? By side, side, side. Okay, by side, 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 we can say that these two triangles are congruent. Okay. Now, see here, angle BAC, this angle BAC is congruent to angle DAC, DAC. Okay, DAC. Why? Because these two triangles are congruent. So this angle BAC is congruent to angle DAC. Why? They are congruent because they are the corresponding angles of the congruent triangle. Similarly, we can write BCA, this angle, and angle DCA, this angle. They are congruent because they are the corresponding angle of the congruent triangle. Okay. So here diagonal, we are get this angles is congruent to this, and also this angle is congruent to this. This means what? Diagonal AC bisects angle BAD as well as angle BCD. Okay. Similarly, we can find diagonal BD bisects angle BAC and angle ADC. Okay. Okay, children. So in this way, we have proved theorems theoretically. Next, we are going to solve some questions based on these properties. Okay, so here some questions are there. Let us see first question. Adjacent sides of a rectangle are of length 7 centimeter and 24 centimeter. Okay, find the length of its diagonal. So what is given? What is given? Quadrilateral ABCD is a rectangle given, and its length are given 7 centimeter and 24 centimeter. We have to find the length of the diagonal. Okay, so here 7 centimeter 24 centimeter are given, which means that we have to consider the longer side and the shorter side. Okay, so here longer side should be the length and shorter side should be the breadth. Okay, we know that rectangle is a two-dimensional figure having length and breadth. So your longer side is length, shorter side is breadth. So let us consider the DC as 24 centimeter and AD as 7 centimeter. And we know that in rectangle, opposite sides are congruent. So AD equal to 24. Similarly, BD equal to 7 centimeter. Okay. Now we have to find the length of the diagonal. Okay. And we know that here angles in a rectangle are right angles. Okay. Every angle in rectangle are right angles. Okay. So here angle D, angle A, angle B, angle C, they all are right angles. Now we have to find the length of the diagonal. So it is angle D is right angle. So if we consider angle ADC equal to 90 degree, angle ADC equal to 90 degree. Okay. If it is a 90 degree right angle, means we can find the side of the longest side of a triangle. Okay, if we consider angle ADC, it is a right angle, we can apply the Pythagoras theorem and we can find the length of the longest side. Okay, so here AC square, you can see here ADC, in triangle ADC you have to find AC. So in a right angle triangle, by applying Pythagoras theorem, okay, So AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. Okay. Now AB is given how much? Given, sorry, we have considered ADC, no? We will consider ABC. No problem. We can consider this triangle also. So ABC. So AB square is 24 square, and BC square is 7 square. So 24 square is how much? We know that we have to multiply the number, same number itself. Okay. So 24 square is 576. 24 square is 576, and 7 square is 49. So if we add both the numbers, we get 625. Okay, 625. So we know that square root of 625 is, it is a perfect number. So square root of 625 is 25. So 25 square is 625. So AC we have got 25. Therefore, the diagonal of a rectangle are congruent. That is BD equal to AC. BD equal to AC, that is 25. We know that diagonals in a rectangle are congruent. So we have got diagonal AC. AC we have got 25. Okay. Similarly BD is also 25. Okay. Yes. Next question. The length of the diagonal of a square. The length of a diagonal of a square is 13 centimeter. Find the length of its each side. So what is given? Quadrilateral ABCD is a square given, and in which diagonal AC is given, length of AC is given 13 centimeter. Okay, the length of the diagonal of a square is given 13 centimeter. We have to find the length of each side. So we have to find the length of each side. Each side we have to find the length of each side. Okay, so AC is given 13 centimeter. Here also we can apply the Pythagoras theorem. Okay, because in a square, each angle, all angles are right angles. Okay, all angles are right angle. So we have to find the length of each side, and we know that in a square all the sides are congruent. Okay, so we will consider each side be x centimeter. Okay, let each side be x centimeter. So here BC we will consider it as x. Now if we consider this triangle ABC, so here angle B is right angle. It is a right angle, means we can apply Pythagoras theorem and we can find the length of other sides. Okay, now AC is given 13, and other two sides we have taken x. Okay, now hypotenuse square is equal to sum of the square of the remaining side. Okay, so hypotenuse square, here AC is the hypotenuse, so AC square it is given 13. So 13 square is equal to, other two sides we have taken x. Okay, because in a square all those sides, all four sides are congruent. So x square plus x square, so x square plus x square, so we'll get 2x square. Okay, 2x square is equal to 169. Okay, therefore dividing 169 upon 2, so x square is equal to 169 upon 2, will get 13 upon root 2. Okay, 13 upon root 2. Okay, because we are taking the square root on both the sides, squaring on both the side. So we'll get what? 169, square root of 169 is 13, and root of 2 is root 2. Okay, so now see here children, 13 upon root 2, so it is a, what is it? It is a surd, and we have studied in your you have studied in you have studied this chapter surd. Okay, so in order to find the root 2, we have to rationalize it. Okay, so what we have to do? 13 root 2, we have to rationalize it. So we have to multiply both numerator and denominator by root 2. Okay, so 13 root 2, 13 into root 2, that will be 13 root 2, and here root 2 into root 2, that is root 4. Okay, root 4 means what? Root 4 is 2, so that is 2. 13 root 2 upon 2, so 13 root 2 upon 2 is the answer. Okay, So the length of each side of a square is 13 root 2 upon 2 centimeter. Is it clear? So in this way we can find. Next, huh. So we are going to solve one question. Practice at 5.3. Okay. So see, let us see first question. The diagonals of a rectangle ABCD intersect at point O. So what is given? Diagonal of a rectangle ABCD intersect at point O. If AC is given 8 centimeter, AC is given 8 centimeter, then find BO. And if angle CAD is given 135 degree, then find angle ACB. Okay. So let us see the solution. What is given? ABCD is a rectangle given. Okay. So here AC is given. AC is given 8 centimeter given. We have to, and here BD is equal to AC. Okay. They are the diagonals of the rectangles, and we know that diagonals are congruent in rectangle. So here BD is equal to AC because diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. So see here children, BD is given 8 centimeter. So we can find BO. So BO will be the half of BD. Why? Because the diagonals of a rectangle, they bisect each other. So here BO is half of BC. BO will be half of BC. So BD is given 8. So BO will be half of BD, means it is BO will be 4 centimeter. Okay. Because opposite sides of a rectangle are parallel. Opposite sides of a rectangle are parallel. Okay. So here AD is parallel to BC and AC is the transversal. Okay. AC is the transversal. It means what? You have studied Z test. Angle DAC, this angle DAC is equal to angle ACB. ACB, this angle, Z test. So they are which angles? They are alternate angles. Okay. So angle DAC is congruent to angle ACB. They are alternate angles. Okay. So angle CAD, angle CAD, angle CAD is given 35 degree. Okay. Therefore angle ACB is also 35 degree. Okay. Angle CAD is given 35 degree, or we can say DAC, angle DAC given 35 degree. So if they are parallel and this is a transversal, so they are forming Z, it is forming Z. And I told you what is Z test. If Z test means they are forming alternate angles. If alternate angles are congruent, then you can say that congruent means alternate angles are congruent. So angle CAD is given 35 degree. So angle, what you have to find? Angle ACB. So angle ACB is also 35 degree because alternate angles are congruent. Okay. ACB is also 35 degree. So alternate angles are congruent. Next, next question. Second question. In rhombus, PQRS, PQ is given 7.5 and QR is, we have to find QR. PQ is given, we have to find QR. If angle QPS is given 75 degree, then find the measure of angle PQR and SRQ. PQR and SRQ. Okay. So here PQ is given 75. Okay. PQ is given 75. We know that PQ is equal to QR. Why? Because sides of a rhombus are equal. Sides of a rhombus are equal. What we have to find? We have to find QR. So QR is how much? QR is how much? 7.5 centimeter. Okay. Because in rhombus, sides are equal. All the sides are equal. And what is given? Angle QPS is given 75 degree. Angle QPS, this angle is given 75 degree. Okay. Angle QPS is given 75 degree. Now see here children, what we have to find? We have to find angle, measure of angle PQR. Measure of angle PQR. Where is PQR? This angle PQR. Okay. Measure of angle PQR. So here here they are forming alternate adjacent angle, children. They are forming adjacent angle. So angle QPR is given 135, sorry, 75 degree, and we have to find angle PQR. So 175 plus angle PQR is equal to 180. Why they are 180? Because adjacent, they are adjacent angle. Okay, so angle PQR 180 minus 75, you'll get 105 degree. Okay, then we have to find angle SRQ. SRQ, angle SRQ. Okay, SRQ. So we know that here this angle and this angle, they are opposite angles. Okay, and we know that opposite angles are congruent. Therefore, angle SRQ is 75. We have got this. How much? So angle SRQ is 75 because they are opposite angles, and opposite angles are congruent. Okay, I hope it is clear to all. Okay, I think we have to wind up now.